What if everything we know about human history is just the surface of a much deeper story, one buried beneath centuries of dust, myth, and forgotten stone? For generations, we've been told that civilization began around 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, and that before that, humanity lived in scattered tribes, slowly evolving from primitive hunters to modern thinkers. But what if that timeline is wrong? What if we are not the first advanced civilization to rise on this planet, but merely the latest survivors of a cycle far older and more complex than we've imagined? Scattered across the world are mysterious ruins, ancient knowledge, and baffling artifacts that don't fit the narrative. Structures built with impossible precision. Stories of cataclysmic floods told by nearly every ancient culture. Tools and technologies that seem far too advanced for their time. Could these be the scattered fingerprints of a forgotten past? In this journey, we'll explore the evidence that suggests another great civilization may have come before us, and met a sudden, world-altering end. From megalithic wonders to global myths of destruction, we'll piece together a puzzle that challenges the very foundations of history. Because maybe, just maybe, we're not the beginning of the story. We're what's left. 1. Out-of-place artifacts, OOParts, the misfits of history. Scattered across museums, private collections, and even dismissed excavation sites are strange objects that don't quite fit the official narrative of human history. These are known as OOParts, out-of-place artifacts, and they may be the most tantalizing clues that we are not the first great civilization to walk the earth. Take the Antikythera mechanism, for example. Recovered from a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, this 2,000-year-old device is a mechanical computer so complex that scientists have dubbed it the world's first analog computer. It could track celestial movements, predict eclipses, and possibly even simulate planetary orbits. But here's the catch: nothing else like it appears in the historical record for over 1,000 years. How does a society build such a marvel, and then forget how? Or consider the Baghdad Battery, a clay jar dating back to around 250 BCE, found near Baghdad. Inside, archaeologists discovered a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When reconstructed and filled with an acidic liquid, the device could produce a small electrical charge. Was this ancient technology used for electroplating? Spiritual rituals? Or was it part of a forgotten science that belonged to an older, now lost society? Even more puzzling are the ancient nanostructures found in the Ural Mountains of Russia, tiny, spiral-shaped metal objects dated to over 100,000 years ago. Too small for the naked eye to appreciate and manufactured with microscopic precision, these objects baffle scientists. According to the mainstream view, humans weren't even supposed to have metalworking skills at that time. Each of these artifacts raises the same troubling question: where did this knowledge come from, and why did it disappear? Could they be remnants of a forgotten chapter in human history, traces of an earlier advanced civilization wiped away by time or catastrophe? If so, then perhaps we are not pioneers, but inheritors, walking in the footsteps of giants whose achievements remain hidden beneath the dust of ages. 2. Megalithic structures and lost technologies, impossible feats in stone. Around the world, massive ancient structures stand as silent witnesses to a past we barely understand. Some are so large, so precise, and so impossibly well engineered that even modern architects and engineers struggle to explain how they were built, especially with the limited tools that mainstream history attributes to ancient civilizations. Take Puma Punku in Bolivia, for instance. Perched high in the Andes, this archaeological site features giant stone blocks weighing up to 100 tons, some carved with such precision that even a razor blade can't fit between them. These blocks are not just randomly placed, they are part of an incredibly sophisticated architectural layout, with interlocking components and drill-like holes that seem more at home in a modern factory than in a site supposedly built over 1,000 years ago. There are no clear answers as to how these stones were moved, shaped, or assembled at such a high altitude with no known written language or will technology. Then there's Baalbek, in Lebanon, where you'll find the stone of the pregnant woman, a single megalith estimated to weigh over 1,000 tons. That's more than 3 Boeing 747s put together. How ancient builders moved this stone, or why they even tried, remains a complete mystery. Modern cranes would struggle to lift it, yet it was not only quarried and moved but also aligned with astronomical precision. Of course, no list of ancient enigmas would be complete without the Great Pyramid of Giza. Often described as a tomb, this colossal structure consists of over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. Yet the joints between the stones are so tight that not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly to true north, and its proportions encode mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio. How did people allegedly using copper tools and ropes achieve such mathematical and architectural perfection? More importantly, why does this level of advancement appear suddenly and without gradual evolution? These anomalies raise a provocative possibility. What if the builders were inheriting knowledge from a much older civilization, one that had mastered techniques we've long since forgotten? Lost technologies, advanced engineering methods, and perhaps even a different understanding of energy and materials may have been passed down through oral traditions or rediscovered remnants. These megalithic structures are more than ruins. They are messages carved in stone, whispering from a forgotten past, "You are not the first." 3. Global flood myths and reset narratives, echoes of a lost world. Nearly every ancient culture tells a story of a great flood, an overwhelming deluge that wipes out civilization, sparing only a few to rebuild the world. These are not just poetic metaphors, they are eerily consistent accounts of a massive, planet-changing catastrophe. Could these myths actually be fragmented memories of a forgotten global reset, one that erased a prior advanced civilization from history? Let's start with the most well-known, Noah's Ark, from the Bible. A man is warned by a divine force of a coming flood, builds a massive vessel, and survives the destruction of the world. But similar stories exist far beyond the borders of the Middle East. In Sumerian mythology, the Epic of Gilgamesh recounts the tale of Utnapishtim, who was also warned by the gods to build a boat to survive a divine flood. In India, Hindu texts describe Manu, who is saved from a catastrophic flood by a fish avatar of the god Vishnu. The Maya, the Aboriginal Australians, the Inuit, the Chinese, and even the Dogon people of Africa, almost every corner of the globe holds onto a tale of water wiping away the old world to make way for the new. Why would so many unconnected civilizations, thousands of miles and oceans apart, preserve such similar stories? Could they all be describing the same event? An ancient cataclysm that engulfed the world, perhaps following the end of the last ice age around 11,600 years ago. Interestingly, this date coincides with the mysterious geological event known as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, which suggests that a comet or asteroid struck the Earth, triggering massive climate shifts, rapid sea level rise, and global chaos. If there was an advanced civilization before this cataclysm, perhaps one that lived along now submerged coastlines or river deltas, the flood would have annihilated it almost entirely. Over time, the survivors might have passed down their memories in myth, their once proud cities reduced to legend, their technologies forgotten or misinterpreted as gifts from the gods. The myth of Atlantis, described by Plato, fits perfectly into this framework. An advanced seafaring civilization, said to have possessed remarkable knowledge and power, destroyed, in a single day and night of misfortune, by a great flood and earthquakes. For centuries, Atlantis has been dismissed as allegory. But what if Plato was preserving a much older oral tradition, a memory of a real, lost world? These flood myths are not isolated fairy tales, they are shared trauma, encoded in culture, whispered across time. And they all point to a chilling possibility: we may not be the first global civilization, but simply the first to survive the reset. Stop. If you like this video, please consider to give us a like, leave a comment behind or subscribe, since we have a new video every day. Now let's roll back to the video. 4. Advanced ancient knowledge in mathematics and astronomy, wisdom beyond their time. How did ancient civilizations, supposedly armed with nothing more than primitive tools and mythological beliefs, possess such precise and sophisticated knowledge of the heavens, mathematics, and the structure of the cosmos? Again and again, we find ancient monuments, manuscripts, and myths that demonstrate a level of scientific understanding that seems far beyond what should have been possible for their era. Take the Great Pyramid of Giza, for example. Its base is almost a perfect square, and its alignment to true north is so precise that it rivals even our modern constructions. But here's where it gets weird: the pyramid encodes mathematical constants like pi symbol, and the golden ratio, phi, in its proportions, long before these numbers were officially discovered by the Greeks. Was this a lucky coincidence? Or was it evidence that the pyramid's architects had access to advanced geometry and engineering principles passed down from a much older civilization? Look eastward, and you find the Maya, a people known for their ornate temples and human sacrifices, yes, but also for their mind-bending astronomical precision. The Mayan calendar could predict solar eclipses, track Venus with near-perfect accuracy, and measure lunar cycles better than some 16th-century European astronomers. Their long count calendar maps time on a grand cosmic scale, spanning tens of thousands of years. Who thinks in timelines that vast unless they're carrying the memory of a world that's risen and fallen before? In ancient India, texts like the Vedas and Surya Siddhanta describe incredibly accurate astronomical phenomena, planetary orbits, the Earth's axial tilt, and even the speed of light, with astonishing precision. These were written thousands of years ago, often dismissed as poetic or religious in nature. But modern analysis suggests there may be hard science encoded within these spiritual verses. Even more bizarre are ancient structures that function as celestial observatories. Stonehenge in England, Nabta Playa in Egypt, and the ziggurats of Mesopotamia all seem to be aligned with solstices, equinoxes, and lunar cycles. This knowledge required not just observation but long-term data collection, often over centuries. And yet, we're told these cultures lacked telescopes, precise timekeeping, or advanced mathematics. How can this be explained? Either humanity experienced a rapid and improbable burst of genius across unconnected cultures, or they were heirs to a much older, more advanced civilization, one that already understood the stars, numbers, and cosmic cycles, and passed that knowledge on through sacred architecture, oral tradition, and encoded myth. In that light, these ancient astronomers and architects weren't just early scientists. They were the custodians of forgotten wisdom, struggling to preserve the fragments of a science so old and so advanced that we still don't fully understand it today. 5. Archaeological anomalies and forgotten cities, the ruins that shouldn't exist. Beneath jungles, deserts, and ocean floors lie the scattered bones of cities that challenge everything we think we know about history. These are archaeological anomalies, places that appear far too old, too advanced, or too unexpected to fit into the comfortable timeline of human civilization. And they may be the strongest evidence yet that a far earlier chapter of our story has been lost. Consider Göbekli Tepe, unearthed in modern-day Turkey. Built around 11,600 years ago, at the very dawn of the Holocene, this megalithic site predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the Great Pyramid by 7,000. It features massive stone pillars, intricately carved animal motifs, and clear signs of sophisticated planning. Yet, according to mainstream history, humans were still hunter-gatherers at this time. They weren't supposed to have permanent temples, large-scale construction, or organized religious systems. So who built Göbekli Tepe, and why did they bury it under tons of earth, deliberately, only centuries after building it? Then there's Mohenjo-Daro, one of the major cities of the ancient Indus Valley civilization. Its ruins reveal wide boulevards, standardized bricks, advanced drainage systems, and even what may have been indoor toilets, features that would seem modern even today. But what's truly strange is the sudden disappearance of this entire civilization around 1900 BCE, with no trace of conquest or mass famine. Even more puzzling are signs of extreme heat found in certain parts of the city, melted stone and fused bricks that some researchers have speculated could only result from exposure to intense, instantaneous energy. Was this evidence of a forgotten technology, or even a kind of ancient disaster we don't yet understand? And what about the sunken city of Dwarka off the coast of India, long considered a myth? In 2001, underwater archaeologists discovered structures beneath the Arabian Sea, walls, streets, and artifacts dated to as early as 9,000 years ago. This challenges the long-held belief that urban life only began around 3000 BCE. Could this be the real-life inspiration for ancient Hindu texts describing cities ruled by gods and powered by technologies we can't even imagine? All over the world, LiDAR and satellite imaging are now revealing lost civilizations buried beneath dense jungles, from vast Mayan cities in Guatemala to unknown settlements in the Amazon basin. These weren't small villages. They had pyramids, road systems, canals, and urban planning. How many more cities lie undiscovered, waiting for the jungle to give them up? Every time one of these anomalies surfaces, history has to adjust, rethink, or, more often, ignore the implications. But taken together, these ruins tell a story that archaeology has only just begun to unravel. A story not of a slow, linear rise from caveman to city dweller, but of cycles, of greatness lost and rediscovered, of civilizations rising to astonishing heights only to vanish, leaving behind fragments of stone and mystery. What if our current civilization is not the peak, but just another turn in a much older wheel? As we piece together the fragments of our forgotten past, a startling possibility begins to emerge. Humanity may not be standing at the pinnacle of progress, but rather in the shadow of something that came before. From inexplicable artifacts and awe-inspiring megaliths to flood myths that echo across continents and star charts etched in stone, the clues are everywhere, hidden in plain sight, yet dismissed because they don't fit the established timeline. But what if it's the timeline that's broken, not the evidence? If an advanced civilization once walked the earth, capable of feats we still struggle to understand, it means history is not a straight line, but a cycle. Civilizations rise, and they fall. And perhaps we, too, are part of that repeating pattern. The real question isn't just what happened before us, but what happens next. Will we be the ones to break the cycle, or just another layer of mystery for future archaeologists to ponder?